All right, we are going to create a vessel. A vessel is a fancy way to say a container. It's going to hold something. We're going to make a bowl, and we're going to use the artist Dale Chihuly, who typically works with glass. We're going to work with clay, but we're going to create a bowl very similar to a type of blown glass that he makes. So we're going to do that. You're going to get a piece of clay like this and a rolling pin, and you're going to roll out your clay. Now, if your clay is pretty moist like mine is and you're worried about it sticking, you can take your clay and move it to one side of your clay mat, fold your clay mat over, and then roll that way. You usually roll 2 or 3 times in one direction, rotate, and roll a few more times in another direction, and you just keep rotating around. Now you're gonna have to use some muscle to flatten out your piece of clay. The type of shape that we're making that Dale Chihuly makes is called a machia bowl, I think, or plate, can't remember. But it kind of looks like a rippled edge bowl. So let's see, I'm getting pretty flat, but I feel like I could go a little bit thinner, especially in the center. When you roll this out though, you want to have a shape that's more similar to a circle or a square. You don't want to have a long skinny piece. So that's a very good reason for me to rotate my clay around as I roll it out, so I don't end up with a long skinny piece, because if you have a long skinny piece, you're not really going to have that much of a bowl shape. Okay, I can handle that. It's about as big as my hand, a little bit bigger, okay? Before we really no, I'll do that later. We'll add in our initials after we do some of our textures, because we're gonna do a little bit of rolling. So I have a variety of tools that you can use for textures. I got 4 different rollers this year. They were donated from Amazon. So you can use these. I have a lot of different fun buttons that I've glued to corks that you can use for different textures. And then I also have some fake flowers and fake plants that you can use for some really cool textures. So some of these you can put on and then roll across. You want to apply some pressure, but you don't want to go too crazy. Okay, so let's see, there's one leaf. Maybe I'll do another one here. Do a little lump. Pull that off. Okay, there's the second leaf. And then maybe for my roller, when you do your roller, don't press too hard. I don't believe you have to press crazy hard. Yeah, and it's hard when you go backwards. Sometimes you get like a doubling of them. But it can be very kind of cool if you want. Okay, there's that. If you're doing a button, I recommend that you push a little and then rock into a circle. Like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's a nice kind of variety there. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our pokey tool and we're going to kind of cut out a circle, but it's going to be a wonky edged circle, so it's circle like. And then come back to where you are. Okay, so there's kind of our machia bowl that we're going to use. I'm going to pull off this extra, and this is what I can use for some extra clay projects if I want to. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to set it off to the side. And then this is like my machia bowl shape. So I'm going to pull this off. And I'm going to show you a trick, because some people, when they try to pull at it, they end up squishing and moving their clay when they don't want to. So here's what I'm going to recommend. Take your hand, place it on top, you don't push, just place it. And then you're going to take your clay mat and move it and flip it over. So now your clay is resting in your hand, and you can pull the clay mat off the clay instead of the clay off the clay mat. Okay, so there's my chia bowl. We're going to do this is the inside and this is the outside. You're going to get a yogurt cup that we a lot of times use for water when we're doing watercolor paints. You're going to turn it upside down and you're going to take your chia bowl and you're just going to place it on top. Don't press it down, but you're just going to place it on top, and then you're going to let gravity do its work. And you can kind of help gravity along by just kind of pushing down your edges. Don't press at the very center, because if you press at the center, you're going to have the indentation of your yogurt cup. So we're just kind of, I'm not really pushing, I'm just kind of gently moving them downward. And it's okay if there's some pieces that stick up. You kind of want some pieces to stick up and some pieces to lay really, really flat. Okay, so there's that. There's my chia bowl. We're gonna let it dry like this, okay? The last thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go get pasta letters for your first and your last name. I have a K and an M, okay? If you don't have pasta letters, you can use your pokey tool or one of the green sticks. I personally am a big fan of the pasta letters, just because they're very easy to read, okay? So I'm going to take them, and I have to be a little careful because I don't want to push too hard, but I'm going to push, and you can use your pokey tool to kind of help you. I take this curved edge, I can hold it, my hands are dry, and I'm just going to gently press it into the clay, trying not to push too hard, but I want to push hard enough that it's going to go in. And then I'll do the same thing with my M. You can kind of use your finger to kind of press it too. Like I said, you don't want to press too hard. Whoop. And if you press it in and the pasta letter comes right out, that's okay. Because when I put these in the kiln, the pasta letter will come out, will burn out, excuse me, and you'll have the indentation from your chia bowl. Okay, so this is what you're gonna have, okay? You're gonna take this whole thing and you're gonna go put it over on the drying rack, okay? Don't take it off the cup, leave it where it's at, okay? Take the whole thing and put them over. Once your clay hardens a bit, I'll take them off the cups for you, okay? I wanna show you, don't do this on yours. I'm just doing this to show you what your bowl will look like when it's done, okay? So if I take mine and I turn it over, and I kind of have a little indentation going on, but there's my chia bowl. I've got kind of a cool little shape on it, okay? So I want to leave mine on there so it can continue to harden, okay? There's my chia bowl. You can use your extra clay to create some extra masterpieces.